Hello. Hi there. Welcome to the Parent Advocate Network, and it is October 20th, 2017. I have just now started this meeting and am ready to take in participants. Excuse me. Let me go and share this link with some people right now. All right, here we go. Links with all the information you need. And off to Mim. I don't even know if we're recording right now. Yep, recording. Recorder is on, and I am just getting everybody connected here. Mim. Hi, Mim.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm so tired. I know. And I got a new kitty today. Look.
No
My new kitty.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's a little boy, just what I wanted. And he's like ridiculously friendly. So I'm battling a kitten while we're here. Anyway.
I got a kitten for Quinn when he was 4 years old, and it looked kind of like that kitten. And he ended up being a rascal.
Right.
When they get older, they get to be real rascals.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to throw them out in the snow once in a while. Not Quinn.
I believe that. Right. I believe that. My cat has been basically pestering me like until I let him outside. And so he's outside right now.
Okay, right on.
So I'm getting a lot of curiosity feedbacks. I've gotten some like right on sister feedback, and I've gotten like stop sending me this feedback. Depending on, and I've sent a lot of different things as far as the spiritual embodiment that's happening, and that's kind of frustrating, you know, the negativity, especially out of individuals who I would figure would be like, yeah, man. And they're like, you know what, kiss my ass. And that's kind of rough. So I'm kind of dealing with that today too.
Lovely. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody is going to turn the page.
Well, maybe not immediately. Maybe not immediately.
Right.
I mean, and if they don't, that's none of my business.
Yep.
It's none of my business.
And I did the prayer with you today. Thank you for helping me with that, man.
You're very welcome. No problem.
That was very helpful. So I have been thinking about this situation because today I started asking for donations from members, and you came forward, and that's great, Mim. I really appreciate you coming forward and helping out with. So Mim here is helping. We're going to have longer Zoom meetings soon. Yay. Thank you, Mim.
Yes. Yes, we will. You're welcome. It's no problem.
And I
It's no
was
problem.
talking, I was doing the chat and requesting it in a whole bunch of different messengers. And one parent advocate started asking me questions about what was going to be covered in my cost, because I'm talking about having an office and everything, and being able to have some reimbursement for helping to get some organization, because the Family Rights Party and the Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families is both expanding so greatly right now, and I want to be able to have uninterrupted focus, and having an office to myself that I can use every day, not worrying about anything, would be great. and so I was talking about in my house, and yes, I'm looking to move closer, but we'll see how that goes. It's I want to be able to at least have accessible presence, because I'm doing so much on this front. And I just was asking for membership support in that. And so this member was like, well, wanting to know all this stuff. And I said, well, I don't have all the information right now. And I would really rather not talk about it in public right now, because it makes me sound stupid when I don't have all the answers. And I don't want to sound stupid. I'm here trying to be an honest, honorable, front
Front man.
front woman, and so it just kind of was discouraging that somebody would start saying, oh, well, she didn't want to answer this question, da, 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 da. And I'm like, well, come on. I put this together all single-handedly, putting the Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families together, the website and development, and I was supposed to have it completed today, but things got in the way. Stuff happens.
Well, my thing is this, like, I knew signing on to this, and I didn't really embody the full reality of the backlash that people were going to wind up giving me. And I'm just now to the point, I was on the phone with Dale earlier, and I'm to the point now to where I'm starting to get ready to make some moves. I'm ready to move around. I'm ready to start really doing what needs to be done here in the area to the best of my ability. And I have a past. And individuals are still very programmed. They're still under an illusion. Yeah. We know this. We understand this. And everybody associated within the movement, regardless of which organization it is, we all know that. And we all know that it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to directly quote from the Bible, but it basically says, those who do good. Don't quote me. Don't quote me. I have no idea. I just remember reading, to those who decide to go on the mission, you're going to get backlash. Okay. It's going to happen.
Right.
And my thing is this, I'm studying business. My other half is a businessman. He's been mentoring me also. He's been physically mentoring me here in Shreveport, while Dale's been mentoring me, over the phone. And so I'm very blessed for that. But he reminds me to respond and not to emotionally react. Right. Because in the real world, full of business, there's a lot of sharks. There's a lot of lion, tigers, and bears. And if you go in acting squirrely, they will eat you.
Oh, yeah.
They will eat you. Absolutely. And people are going to push. They're going to push. There's a movie, Joy. Have you ever seen the movie Joy?
I'm not
It's
sure.
about the it's about the woman that invented the squeeze mop.
Ah,
And basically, this is a movie that Isaac had me watch. And this woman patented the squeeze mop, and it was to be sold on QVC. And she got up there the first time to promote her product, and first off, she froze. Okay, and so as the story goes on, she gets backlash. Somebody winds up stealing her ideas, but in the end, because she was able to really just push through all of that and respond as opposed to emotionally react, she just put her feelings under a rock. And that is something that I'm teaching myself to do. As harsh as that sounds, as harsh as it sounded all the times, Isaac told me I have to, on a daily basis, regardless of who it is, what relationship, friendship, not business, not, I have to put my feelings, my little feelings that get hurt, I have to put all of that under a rock, a big, huge, gigantic rock amongst the rocks, so nobody knows which one it's under. And then I don't tell them which one it's under. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It still hurts. It still hurts because they're still there. I hope that helps.
no, it does.
Hello.
Thank you. Hi, Sylvia. Sylvia, welcome. How are
Hi,
you?
thank you. Oh, I've had better days. It got cold in Michigan. We're freezing to death.
Oh my. Well, it's getting
Yeah.
chilly here on the coast. We just had fires through the north coast of California, and now it's getting cold
Oh,
and stuff, but we're still not getting much rain. So,
no. Well, we had the rain, the winds, you name it, we got it. We got hit from 76 degrees last Sunday to no higher than 50 all week.
wow.
That's how
Lows
it's
in the
been down
30s.
here in Louisiana.
Yeah, it sucks, don't it?
No, I love it.
Oh,
I
no.
love it.
I'm a Texas baby. I like heat. I can't live without the heat.
Right?
Well, thanks for welcoming me. I kind of got in
Absolutely.
at the last minute here. I just seen the text. So, what's going on?
Well, it's actually the beginning of our parent advocate meeting for the Coalition
Okay.
for the Protection of Children and Families, and we are here to discuss ways that people around the country are supporting family values, helping parents to keep their families intact, and ways which we
Okay.
can educate the public about the epidemic that we are experiencing.
Got it.
So I mean, and people are arguing. It's still the male versus female bit, and
Right.
Mim was just talking about how we need to be putting our emotions under a rock when we have emotions about and are reacting because we don't.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Well, yeah, and they need to be let out. I mean, you hold that in, that's when you get the depression, the anxiety, So if you don't have the opportunity to vent or at least talk about what you're going through, it's a very lonely world. Very lonely.
And see, that's the difference between the business realm and the support realm. Because that's something I was speaking on. We still do have feelings. They're there. They're real. They're in us. When they're under a rock, this is out in the public. This is around individuals who are maybe not necessarily not in our support group, but a horse of a different color or just really in everyday life. And so if we are able to learn to respond and communicate as opposed to just react, oh, you pissed me off, oh, I'm going to strangle you, which I do. I do that internally on a daily basis, like, oh, I'm going to beat my dog. I'm not really going to beat my dog, but that's still my emotional just response.
Absolutely.
And that alone, that gets everybody in trouble.
That's our human nature.
Yeah, it is.
To
It's a
defend
difficult
yourself.
one.
You don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to face the reality. And that's just how sometimes our bodies protect our brain.
Right. It's a defense mechanism. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight. I was looking online this week because there's kind of an argument here, but I believe that there are 3 phases of grief. We have anger, sorrow, and acceptance.
Right.
Okay, well, once you accept the fact that your children have been removed from your house illegally, based on somebody's arbitrary accusations against you, where does that leave you? Doesn't that leave you back with anger? And that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
I see people getting into this whole loop where they just get stuck and they can't go anywhere. And the idea behind the Parent Advocate Network is to help people process through this and come out the other side and say, okay, now what can I do for families and children here on a whole?
Right.
Because regardless of whether you're male or female, you have been hurt and you're experiencing pain and you can't even communicate with your own children, then, you know, you'll react.
Undescribably pain. Yeah. Pain that's beyond you ever thought you'd face in your own lifetime. The realm is just undescribable.
Sucks.
It does.
That's it. That's it.
It's hell. It's
I don't
out
know
of
your
our head.
names. You know my name. I don't know your name.
I'm Lyra.
Lyra. Nice
Yes.
to meet you, Lyra.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Mim or Mimsy.
Mim. I'm writing it down because I always have to write things down. I have a head injury, so if I don't write it, I forget it.
I
But
have
it's a pleasure.
head injury as well. When I was very young, I got hit by a car, and
Oh, good God.
I was technically dead for 2.5 minutes, and I have metal in my head keeping my skull together. I've done a lot of personal work to redevelop skills that I lost, and
It's been a lifelong for you.
it's been a lifelong. It still is, and
Yeah.
you know, and it always will be. And I want to say hi, Jedi, and I just want to say, as far as this traumatic brain injury, it's like a lot of things that people suffer from where they are permanently disabled and they have a family, and the Department of
Right.
Family Services attacks them, sees them as the weak ones, the weak links. Then that's what they're taking out right now, is they're taking out all the weak links.
That's
You don't
right.
have family around you, if you have disabilities, if you don't have a job, all these things are weak links, and they go right after you all the time. And it's
Just like a viper.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to welcome Jedi Ryan to the forum. Thank you for coming, Ryan. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Sylvia is here, and so is Mim. And we were just talking about the fight or flight reaction that parents are having and how that affects the way that parents are reacting in groups, and why we still have so much of this conflict.
Vented anger.
Yeah.
Vented anger.
And so
That's the
would
best
you
word.
like to speak on that?
Well, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that lately in the groups. There's a lot of vented anger. There's a lot of segregation, and I see there's a lot of moms in here, and it's a shame the dads don't want to jump in. And I'm going to be very honest, because this is a family thing that's happening. I feel like, you know, we have a mom's group, a mother's rights group, we have a father's rights group, and the conflict is just tremendous. And I'm watching it unfold, and here I am, a neutral person, and you know that, Lyra. I'm very neutral. I'm very pro-mom, pro-dad. Hey, let's make this work so the kids grow up happy and healthy.
Yeah.
That's all that matters to me, is that we have happy, healthy kids. But somewhere along the line, there's a breakdown of what's most important.
Family values.
Yeah, and so, and along with Lyra, you know, I have a traumatic brain injury. I have a spinal cord injury. I have, because of my traumatic brain injury, I have problems regulating my emotion because I damaged the frontal lobe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but I damaged it when I was little on a jumper horse. So, you know, and I have sinus issues now, but yet for some reason the people kind of coming off of that, people in the movement aren't
welcoming.
Huh?
Welcoming.
well, not only just welcoming, they're not they want it one way or another.
I'll have to debate with you on that, because I don't really necessarily think that it's people that are within the movement, because the people that are embodied in this movement are all well, I can't speak on everybody. From what I have witnessed, each individual I have come across has been very willing to sit and listen and not necessarily debate, take into consideration, agree to disagree. It
Right.
comes from the whole place of neutrality. And I know that one of the big motivations is to talk about the solution, to continue talking about the solution, to continue to shine our lights, to continue to be one with the movement and with each individual organization as it goes and as it grows. And I too have had a lot of traumatic experiences. Sylvia, you don't know my background. You can PM me, we can talk about it.
Good.
But for me, here in the Louisiana area, I have a lot, I like to say there are a lot of rabbits running around that have managed to form into one big, gigantic white rabbit that I'm busy assisting to pull out of the hat, okay? And so
Got it.
what's happening here in the local area is Louisiana's always been very far behind the times. You're in Texas, you understand what I'm saying.
I'm in
You
Arizona.
See, there you have it. There you have it. Okay. And so it's spreading. It's spreading out and around and across. And the way the United States is, we have been in this area in the South that has always been slower. And my theoretical belief on that is the fact that because the South was so dedicated to slavery and injustice and stealing these people, this is part of the mass karma that is in the entire area of the South that is incorporated. I don't care what color you are, it's
Right.
or gender. It's incorporated into each of our pain bodies, specifically in this area. If we were born in this area, even more so. It's a part of the Southern karmatic activity that needs to be resolved. And my personal resolution for this growth is there is a school that is across the street from me. My children go to this school. I am working with several individuals, Lyra included, to work on educational benefits for children, things that they don't teach in school. I believe somebody, who was it? It's my other half. He told me, he said, they don't even teach home economic in schools anymore.
Oh,
I
I
believe
know.
I said that the last call, remember, Lyra?
That's right, you too. I've heard so many people say that at this point in time. And so one of the main focuses within the embodiment is healthier, beneficial living for all. And so if we are able to teach children at a young age how to garden, how to get their hands dirty, how to get it in the earth, and how
Well,
to
even use
grow
the washing
things.
machine. Come on, half the kids that are
Really,
graduating can't even operate a washing machine.
and it's we can go back and forth all day on all the different bewitching techniques that have been used within the system, the whole governmental system, world economics. We can go on and on and on all day.
It's dumbing down of America. The dumbing
Oh
down
yeah,
of America.
I've said that quite a bit, Larry. You've heard me say that.
Yep.
But you have a different experience now. I've been in the movement for quite some time. You have a different experience. Mine could be my gender that keeps me so neutral, and so I have a completely different experience. I go into the father's rights movements or anti-mom. Let's sabotage mom. Let's call CPS. Let's do this. And these are how these groups are. And moms are the same way.
Yeah.
Do not get me wrong. They are both across the board. And
Yeah.
here I am, this little lone wolf out here that's just doing, I'm not wearing the little sheepskin, going, what the fuck? Excuse my French, guys, but what the fuck are you guys doing? And I don't like dividing my kids. I have 3 kids, 2 stepdaughters, a biological, and then my cousins. And there was no division. Was there protection? There was a way more protection than most. Was there, okay, mom, dad can come spend time. Oh, okay, you're going to visit your dad this weekend? Go ahead. My son's situation was a little different, so, but I worked very hard at pushing the ego and it's still a struggle. I'm going to be very honest with you. My cousin and I are debating right now. Well, I wouldn't even. I would just flat out tell you it's a fight. 9 years I've been fighting for his kids, which I was adopting. And so that fight has turned into an all-out war for me. Because in my mind, in my heart, these are my kids, and I'm going to protect them. I don't care if they're in CPS custody. I don't care if they're in your custody. I don't care if they're in wherever. Does that make sense? I'm going to protect them. They are the most valuable things on this planet to me. I could lose my house. I could lose my car. I'd be hurt if I lost my dog. And so I stopped there. But I can lose everything else. But your family is something that's non-replaceable. And a child is non-replaceable. I speak to so many parents that their children have been removed after a child has died. And that is the most traumatic. Imagine losing. I'll give you a case. There's a lady that I work with. She lost her daughter to cancer. The system came in and swooped in and took her other 2 children because of this. And they're using the trauma against her from her daughter dying of cancer. How dare you? These are
That's absurd.
They didn't. Yeah, it's right here. She's going through TPR right now in Arizona. Actually, I'm just going to expose it here because I know this is going to go out, and don't edit it, Lyra, because Arizona needs to know that this garbage is going on. The destruction of the family unit, even though you have parents that are they might be struggling, they might bicker, they might argue. At least they're trying to keep their family together. Did you know there's a study that has been done amongst psychologists that proves that parents who bicker and argue in front of their kids teach their children the coping skills they need to make it through this life?
That's right. And,
that's a proven study.
Right now, this is a part of the thing I've been talking about online is this repeal and replace issue. Now, some people say, oh, just abolish the whole thing. It's worthless. What we have, though, is there is still, we need to be looking at the well-being of the child, no matter how we look at it, whether it's...
Well, is it the well-being of the child to isolate from a parent? Let's be honest here.
Exactly. So, and so what we are what I'm trying to explain here as far as the repeal and replace is there's a whole bunch of laws that need to be removed, but something needs to be put in place to ensure family values are supported by our communities and by
Lyra, do me a favor when we're done with this meeting. Send me your email. I'm going to send you the PDF of what they just did in Utah. It's freaking amazing, guys. We need to model the United States just like that, because even though they want to be progressive unit system, they went backwards in time. Instead of forwards, they went backwards to the 50s and 60s, where the police were the forefront. The police came out to your house and didn't find anything wrong, and your children were safe, and there was food in there. There was no neglect. They didn't see any signs of abuse. Nothing happened, guys.
Right.
They didn't take the kids.
I'd like to make a statement on that. Here's my take with the local law enforcement here in the area. I over my years, whether it's now or from my past, the entire time that I've been in Louisiana, as long as I have treated a law enforcement official with respect, good 8.5 times out of 10, I have gotten the same respect back. I have had a lot of really, really good talks with law enforcement at various stages. And this ranges from not so much in the courtroom, but maybe at the courthouse, within the corrections facility here in Louisiana. I, the other night, called an officer out to my home because when they pull people over on my street, they pull them over right in front of my driveway, And so what if my neighbors are trying to get out? What if I'm trying to get out? What if my husband's trying to get in, And so I had this been going on for 5 months.
Actually, it's illegal for even an emergency vehicle to be blocking a driveway.
And see, this is what he told me. He said, well, you do know that whenever we pull a person over, generally wherever the person stops, we have to stop so many feet behind that individual. He said, so as long as you come out and you say, hey guys, hey, look, I need to get out. Could you move your stuff? Could you move out of the way? He said, they're not going to have a problem. He said, especially here in this district, I know these guys real well. They're not going to have a problem coming out and moving their vehicles because we understand.
Well,
and so that's a really good idea.
Well, the philosophy behind Utah's bill is they're always interacting with their communities. They know their communities. And pay attention, because I read the bill and I was just like floored. I was like, and this goes in effect in January, this bill. 75%. I'm sorry, that yelled. I'm excited. Can you tell? 75% of CPS will be fired. They will be looking for jobs in other states, guys. CPS workers
watch
will
out.
be fired.
Don't hire them in other states. Make sure they don't get there either.
This is amazing. This is good news for us, guys. We're making progress. People don't think we're making progress. You don't see the progress. But when Lindsay, get the bill. I'm going to go ahead and I'll send you the PDF form of it. Lyra, when you get the bill, send it to her. We need to lobby for this bill in every state.
Absolutely.
Because the police work with our community. The police officers, I have 2 reports on my children. Okay? The police were involved in both of my baby cousins and my son. The police said that my children should not have been returned and they wanted to return them. CPS refused to return them. What's wrong with the situation? They're trained to recognize abuse. They're trained to recognize like all these various things. Police officers are trained to do this. They can sense when somebody fears for their safety, and they can sense when somebody doesn't fear for their safety. They can sense when somebody needs to be arrested and removed or asked to be removed from the home, and they can sense when they don't need to be removed from the home. So why aren't they
the social workers that are employed in our country right now are not trained to do their job, and that
correctly? They're not
totally
trained in forensic. They're not trained in criminal and forensic interviews. Police are, though. And then if they have a question, then they bring in a forensic psychiatrist or a forensic investigator. This is 100% better. This bill is 100% better, guys, than we have right now.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to bring to light, I don't know if we have any grandmas. If we have grandmas, raise your hand. That's fighting CPS. We do? Okay. So I don't want to sound rude, but here's another thing that's coming to the forefront, guys. And please listen and hear me out. And I think we need to address this, Lyra, before it gets worse.
Yes.
Grandparents are now interfering in their children's children. Right. And the only time a grandparent should intervene is if their children are going to the CPS custody, guys, or your grandchildren are being abused. I don't mean to sound rude, or if it's hurtful to anybody here. I want you to understand that I'm compassionate. I don't have grandchildren yet. I don't know if my children will ever have them because of what happened with CPS, but still, I'm very compassionate, and I understand your love for your grandchildren. But these are your children's children. And one thing that I would like to point out is, how would you like it if your parents would have interfered with your children? That needs to be brought up. And the bill that they're trying to pass in Florida right now gives grandparents more rights to the grandchildren than the parents do.
We have grandparents' rights like that here in Louisiana. I have noticed that. I have several friends. One woman I grew up with, she's like a sister to me. Her child was taken from her, and the grandparents have the child. The grandparents are giving her they're taking the grandparents' rights to the extreme. Agreed, if there's abuse, if there's excessive, constant, unresolved, unattempted to resolve drug usage in the home, in
physical abuse, etc.,
in neglect, etc. If these things are going on, these are all key, like ding ding, there's an issue. Something needs to be done. I was really grateful for a moment of clarity I had when I was on the streets, and that was to call my priest because my mother did not understand the severity of what was happening with me out there. and my children were in danger. And I was able to have this moment of clarity where I called and I said, come get my kids. Come get them. I can't.
That's being a responsible parent,
I
though.
am not
Yes.
capable.
Yes.
A lot of individuals are so fearful of making a move in such a way because the grandparents are obsessive and excessive within grandparent rights. Okay,
I know I had to battle that.
you've always been a screw up. Ever since you were a teenager, you were a screw up. So now guess what? Ha ha. Okay, so you've got this aspect. You've got other ones who just are absolutely just overprotective, still very under the veil, old school. I apologize off the rip for offending anybody. Southern Baptist, I grew up with a lot of individuals who had parents like that who were indeed adopted children from the foster care system. And so these are things that I have witnessed. And these individuals, these women, these men who have their kids who are going through these internal struggles don't always have that option, but even the ones who do are terrified. They're terrified to even fathom saying, yo, I got a problem. I can't raise my kids right now. And that is okay.
Or you have
a chance to get my life together and somebody take care of them for a minute. I mean, and it's hard for parents to even come to that point of taking that responsibility. So it's about responsibility.
Well, then you have an issue like me where my mom was abusive as a child. And there was a reason why her visits were supervised. And there's a reason. I mean, not all people are in this situation. Some people are just pissed off at their parents for not taking the trash out while babysitting the grandkids. That's a ridiculous reason to be mad at grandparents. There's another situation that is going on in Florida with a grandfather, and because his grandson got circumcised, he's taking his daughter to court and trying to take the grandkid.
Wow.
I would like to hear what Sylvia has to say because
Me
she
too.
is a grandparent. She should have a voice.
Yes, she should. Please. Hold on. Let me
unmute yourself.
Hold on.
Situation. Okay.
Okay, you're unmuted.
All right. My situation is totally different. I raised my kids with love, affection, everything positive in life. Never put my children down. I have 4 grown children. I have 16 grandchildren, and I'm soon to be a great grandmother to 2. But we lost my 6-year-old granddaughter, well, at the time she was 6, to the father. This is in another state. I have no confrontation. I have no conversation. I have no writing. I have no talking. I have no Skype with this granddaughter that I was there when she was brought into the world. So I'm not the bitch grandma. I'm the hurt grandma because I have no contact with my baby at all. When she comes to Michigan, this last time when she came, my daughter and I had a fight. Out of 6 weeks, I seen her 15 minutes 3 times. So my heart bleeds.
Oh,
now
I'm
she's
sorry.
9.
I apologize.
She's
from
9
the
years
depth
old.
of my heart.
Oh, no apology necessary. I have a lot of faith in God, and I know everything happens for a reason. And that's what keeps me together. Everybody has their own vice, but it's heartbreaking. I'm not even able to watch my daughter. She's in Green Bay, Wisconsin, being raised by the birth father from a weekend affair.
A what?
A weekend affair.
And he took her to court and took the kid?
Yep.
I'm sorry to say it like that, but I didn't,
Well, that's what he did,
when you
nitty
start
gritty.
saying names, then you become very personal. So, no, that's wrong.
Yep, the natural birth father married while he was cheating on his fiance with my daughter. They impregnated. He told his fiance about it, but nobody told his family. Nobody knew until my granddaughter was 18 months old that she even existed. And now he has custody.
Wow.
How is that possible? I mean, she had to take care of herself and pay for all of her food and nutrition while she was carrying the child, and then nurse the child for 18 months. And now,
yes.
Wow, that's astounding. This is the kind of stuff we're dealing with.
This is Michigan.
This is the kind of stuff we're dealing with everywhere, honestly. I know that it's rampant in the South. It's rampant in California. I know it's rampant in other states across the country. there is a karmic issue here, but there's also resolution, and we're here to talk about bringing families back together, because this is just
I know.
I don't know if this is a karma issue, guys, because this is happening across the board. No matter what race, they are just snatching and grabbing kids. This is just an all-out holocaust on the world, on the United States. I'm
It
sorry, it's child slavery. You're putting children in human trafficking rings. Arizona is notorious for putting kids in human trafficking rings. They're notorious for kids being put in foster homes that are abusive. And then when you complain that your child is acting strange, it's a figment of your imagination. I'll step that one up for you. My son came in with bruises and bite marks all over him. I hadn't seen him in 6 months. I called the cops and CPS, CPS on CPS, guys. And the report, they talked to all 10 kids in the group home. All 10 kids came with very similar stories, not identical, but very similar. And yet, how do you unsubstantiate a report where the kids are saying that they're being forced to fight for food? They're being bet on like they're dogs.
Mm.
And in my home, wait, my kids get into a fight, they throw something at each other, and my kids are being abused.
Right.
They're kids, they're teenagers. What do you think every teenager is going to get along?
Kids can't be kids anymore. That's pure and simple.
No, they can't even go in the yard and play in the dirt, and that you're abusing your children now.
Right.
This
Dirty
is-
kids.
This is similar in correlation to a research essay that I'm busy writing right now for school. It's the effect that bullying has on children, and it goes into the 3 categories of those who are involved in peer relation bullying. You have your bullies, you have your victims, and you have your bully victims. So just because a child is a victim does not mean vice versa. And so there is a lot of wide range intervention techniques at this point in time to raise awareness and, report it. If you see somebody being bullied or harassed, yada, yada, report it. But that's not always going to be reliable.
Well,
this is back in 2016.
Come on, CPS. I swear
This is
to
back
God.
in 2016. And so if you have little smaller sects of groups, not sects of groups within the schools who are trained and affiliated with organizations such as this to monitor, the teachers, the staff who are trained in this to observe, much like the law enforcement, then there is a better chance to have an intervention on a smaller scale to pin the nail in the head on the individual.
Mimsy, I want to stop you for just a moment. All 10 kids had reported this abuse going on to the schools. CPS just covered it up.
This is and I believe that. I believe that, but that's the importance of becoming affiliated across the state with the Coalition for the Protection of Families and Children. Okay, I know there's other organizations who are out there who are willing to become involved in this to create these almost tribal type bonds within school systems, and then branching out. I'll say this in closing. Today I did volunteer work at a school function, and there was a young girl from Alexandria there who was picking up trash, and I asked her if I could take her picture picking up trash with her gloves on. She just did it on her own. It was beautiful. And when I spoke to her about everything, she said, well, people just don't listen, ma'am. They just don't listen in my area. I said, listen. Doesn't matter. It's not a popularity contest. If one individual is busy shining their light, somebody else, the right person, the right people will see that, as long as we all, and her at this time, continue to uphold that integrity within ourselves. It's not going to go unnoticed, period.
Amen.
I agree.
And I would like to just let everybody know we've got about 5 minutes before this call ends. Hopefully by next month we will be able to have longer meetings. I do appreciate all of you joining in tonight. If you each would like to have a closing comment before we close up. Sylvia, I believe you were trying to say something.
Well, basically what I'm trying to say is we can't put everybody in the same nutshell. Everybody has different situations, different scenarios. Like I stated, I'm not the bitchy grandmother. I'm the loving grandmother. That
love you.
out of 16 grandchildren, oh, thank you. I love you too. Out of 16 children, I'm missing a missing link. I miss her dearly every day. And with no contact, I can't even Skype. It's just not a fair world.
No, it isn't.
I've gotten 9 years without seeing my family.
I'm
9
sorry.
years of worrying. You know,
Yeah, you don't
I've been
stop
there
being a
since
parent.
birth. I was raising. You know, these are my cousins. I got my son back, but he came back damaged, and now I'm battling that. And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I think that reaching out to the families it's very hard to work with people who have been traumatized.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also very hard to work with people that are dead set in their own thinking of, well, I've got to fight for this side. When you don't have to fight for any side, you just have to fight to get your children home.
It's
That's
the
it.
children's side. It's not any male versus female. We can't
Nope.
have the division. That's just going to totally crash everything like it always does.
Yep, it's all about the children.
Yep,
Yeah.
keep it to the children, and we will be fine. I think if we battle for the children like Utah did, we've got this in the bag.
Yeah, it's opening up in more states.
This literally could resolve if we fight for the children. This literally could resolve our issues. Now to get everybody else on board to fight for children only. Screw your feelings, screw your emotions. It's them. They're the ones who have to live in this living hell. Yeah, we have to go through it ourselves, but they have to live out of the home and be abused.
Well, I want to say again, guys, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off for now. Is it okay, first and foremost, I want to get a clear consensus. Is it okay if this goes on social media?
I'm fine with it. I'm not worried about it.
Okay, so we're all in agreement with that. Okay, so my next thing is I'm going to bed. I'm
right behind you.
It's been a really long day. I just really want to close in saying that I just want to ask everybody, just shine that light, even when you feel like there's no hope, there's no positivity, you want to get angry, you want to vent. It's so vitally important at this point in time, guys, within this embodiment, that we really become authentic and shine the light in authenticity, even though it's dark out there, even though we're pissed, even though it's not okay. That light has to be put across it all, and it will be resolved.
I have to say amen to that.
I love you guys very much. Lyra,
I love you.
So it'll be wonderful to meet you. And
thank you for welcoming me.
Thanks
for the warm welcome.
Protection of children and families. We welcome everybody. We are working to become a ministry because we are doing this work in the best way possible we can, and it's for our children and our children's children, and that is where it's all about. And that's God's work. That's God's law.
It is. Amen.
So that's why we are working towards becoming a ministry, because the children are God's children, and we're here to help protect and care for them all. And so I appreciate.
If I can say one little thing.
Yes.
I have Christianity in my heart, so I have to just say it this way. We are just the carriers of God's children. And once the baby is delivered and God puts the first breath in that baby's mouth, that's God's baby. It's not ours. We're just the carrier. We're the part-time on earth parent. But we know the angels all belong to God.
Amen. And God gave us this responsibility to take care of our children.
Yes.
That is a fundamental right. That is a unalienable, unrevocable right for us parents that have been given this opportunity to have our children, to be able to parent them. And it is vital we work towards learning and teaching children today and young adults today to be better parents, to bring home back to school environments,
Yes.
to help teach young parents and parents to be.
Teach them how to be better family members.
Yes, absolutely. And that's where the repeal and replace concept comes from. Is, you know, I'm not saying it's we're playing God or anything, but we do need to have some kind of a structure in place
Yeah.
to keep families together, to have healthy families and thriving in this world, because there's so much anger and so much hatred in the world today, and we're so disconnected in society today, and that's why we have this issue that we have that is so traumatizing to everybody. But if we just keep going around in the circle, it's never going to be resolved. Just keep
We'll
on.
get it. We'll get it. We're slowly getting there, and I believe that God's showing us the way through. I believe God is actually showing us through Utah.
Through you.
I'm gonna send it
Please
to me
send
on
me
your
that
email
link.
on Facebook though. Send me your email on Facebook so I can get it to you.
I will.
Well, it's been my pleasure, folks.
Been a pleasure.
It's been my
to
pleasure.
have
It was
you,
nice meeting you.
I'll be
Thank
back.
you for being the sponsor of this, Lyra.
I
Yes.
keep on doing what I can every day. You know, it's one
Deep breath.
It's our purpose.
one person there. We each have our task to complete, and you're doing great work down there, Ryan. Thank you so much for your work, and keep on keeping on. Keep the faith. Keep
Yes.